I'm going to ask this question. Sophia, what does a bad person, now, once again, I'm not just referring to a man. A woman could be just as dangerous as a man. What does a bad person look like?
It can look like anybody.
All right. Zion, what does a bad person look like?
They have big muscles. They talk. Their voice sounds a little like for example
Okay.
hey kid, like that. And they have tattoos all over their body. They're really long. Yeah.
All right. What does a bad person look like?
With those black
You mean like a hood?
yeah.
Okay. What does a bad person look like?
In my opinion, most of them look like her, Sensei, but they can be any.
Well, that's because she's your sister.
Yeah.
What do you think a bad person might look like, Mr. Henry?
Well, they might be using squares a lot and hanging out at the end of the dead-end street and probably wearing a bandana.
Okay, and you said tattoos before and all this? Okay. These are very good answers. But the one thing is, Sophia and Amir are all right. A bad person can look like anybody. You have a general idea and don't think you're wrong. Because even back when I was a kid, we were taught bad guys usually wore black. You watch movies, like a Western. The good guy had a white hat. The bad guy had a black hat, which is totally untrue. A lot of people are under the impression that when you look at someone, oh, he's a bad guy. Oh, he's not. I mean, perfect example. Look at me. I'm 6'3". I got a goatee. I think one of you one time was saying he got a mustache, beard. I mean, you know me, but some people have seen me on the street and go and get scared. I've been in an elevator with a woman, an old woman, who was clutching her purse. The elevator door opened up and four young, and not racially or anything, four young white guys came in, and then they, went to another floor and left. And when I got to my floor, as I was leaving the elevator, I turned and politely looked at the woman and said, in actuality, if those four guys had done anything to you, I would have defended you. Now, what the point is, we don't know what a bad guy actually looks like. A bad guy can look like anybody. They could be wearing suits. They could be a woman. Just like, oh, please, I don't have any money. Actually, a couple of years ago, almost every Saturday, I would go outside after class, and there'd be this one woman, and she goes, excuse me, I'm from Boston, and I took the T up, and my friends left me, and I don't have any money to get back to Boston. Can I get $1 or something like that? Eventually I go, you asked me the same thing last week. I said, you got really bad friends. And why don't you buy a round trip ticket? You live in Boston, you come to Haverhill, get a round trip ticket. So what we need to realize is not that we have to be paranoid or scared, but a bad guy can look like anybody. Sometimes bad guys use that to their advantage. Sometimes there are bad guys who try to dress up as police officers because we're taught to trust the police. And we should. But still, what we need to do is pay attention to the way people act. So if I go, hey, little boy, and I start walking up to you, can I borrow your cell phone? You should back up and go, no, my battery's dead. Or, and I'm dating myself here, back in my day, we were always taught if some guy goes up to you, hey, excuse me, kid, can I borrow a quarter to use the payphone? You guys know what a payphone is?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Cool. You don't know what a payphone is, Aaron?
Not really.
that's okay. Actually, I haven't seen a payphone working in years.
Isn't it like a kind of like a telephone booth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this little thing that if you go in it, like a box, when you go in it, there's like a phone, like an old phone in it.
Oh yeah.
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 And if you're in England and it's blue and you go in, you might actually end up going through time and space.
They don't get it.
Have you ever seen Doctor Who?
Doctor Who.
Good Lord, Aaron, you gotta get a life, man. Doctor Who.
I've seen Back to the Future with the DeLorean, and they go back in time.
Yeah, also too, don't just jump in DeLoreans, because when you hit 88 miles per hour, 1.21 gigawatts, it could go all crazy. Just kidding. But remember, so the key thing is, we don't necessarily know what a bad guy looks like, but we should be cautious. More on how people present themselves. You know, if, let's say, Sophia, I mean, you know her, you've known her for years, but if you didn't know Sophia and she just came running up to you, hey, just give me a dollar real quick, you'd be like, the first thing you do is put your hand up like, you know, like this. But sometimes, and like I said, we're talking about dangerous adults right now. What they try to do is get you to think of them as someone friendly. So, I mean, as big as I am, if I was going to kidnap Jelias, I'm not going to just like, you know, come here, kid. Because, what was it, one of you thought that, yeah, you thought that bad guys always talk like this. No. Bad guy could be very calm. Hey, kid, come here. Come here. Come here. Come on, man. Want to buy some Pokemon cards? Oh, wow, Pokemon. No. Okay? That's what they do. But also, too, sometimes they just run and grab kids. So you have to, reason why, when we practice our karate, I tell you, hands up, tight fist. Don't punch, you know, really put an effort in. Because when you practice hard, you'll throw hard if you ever have to. And guess what? Now watch this, okay? I'm gonna practice, I'm gonna throw punches like Amir does. Now I'm gonna throw punches like Sophia. Which looks stronger?
Mine.
Yeah, right. But think about this too. What did I do? Okay, here we go. Watch this. Did that look strong?
Yes.
All right, now watch. Yes! Which seems stronger?
The second one.
Let's say, why?
Because you ki.
Because I ki. Guess what? If somebody's attacking me on the street, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna be like, yo, back off! And guess what? Even as a type of ki, what happens is, Mr. Chris, Sensei Ali, they're like, oh, something bad is going on over there, so they're going to come over and try to help. And also, too, we've talked about this before, if somebody's attacking you on the street, don't go, help, oh, help, help. You know, what do you yell?
Scream fire.
Scream fire. Because more people will run to see a fire than they, help, help. I mean, let's face fact, you hear car alarms go off, you ever see somebody run to the car? Even the car owner goes, man, stupid alarm. Woo, woo, woo. No. But if you go, fire, everybody's like, woo, what's going on, what's going on? They got their camera phones on and everything. So think about that. Yes, sir?
Yeah, usually when the guy wants to kidnap something, they have like a white van with saying free candy, saying, do you want a lollipop?
Now, let me ask you something. See, that's the general idea. You're kind of right. But have you ever seen a van go by with free candy written on it? No. But there are people, they will use a van because you could grab somebody and throw it in. It's big. Once again, we can't make an assumption on what is going to be. We have to be smart and pay attention. Remember, karate is 90% mental, 10% physical, so we train our brain just as much as our body. So we need to get out of our head that the bad guy is going to have free kittens, free candy, clowns.
Oh. No, I wouldn't go near that thing.
in there.
Haven't you ever been to the circus?
No, sir.
All right. I don't know why people are afraid of clowns. Okay, and trust me, there's no clown living in the sewer named Pennywise that's going to take you.
Oh,
That's
sure.
only a movie.
All right, I'm just saying.
That's
But
only a movie.
All right, hey, you know what though? But okay, this is a good example. You have a fear of clowns. Not saying every clown is bad. And I can tell you there was a case where somebody who dressed up as a clown was a bad person, but that was way back when I was young, back in the Chicago area. But we were not going to talk about that. But here we go. So if you see a clown walking down the street, you're on alert. Right, sir? Now, imagine if you see 5 kids about yay high walking down the street towards you. Should you be on alert? What do you think?
Only if you get bad vibes, yes.
Yeah, you should always kind of still be on alert. Because they may look like regular kids, they're like all happy and everything, and then they may go, one may go, all right, now. They'll try to jump you, take your lunch money. Or your Pokemon cards. Your Air Jordans.
My Pokemon cards are safe in my house.
There you go. But there's nothing wrong with kind of paying attention to people. Just don't be paranoid. You know, don't be every time, go, hey you! No, just if I'll look at you. Okay, all right. But see, this is also why here at Five Dragons Karate we teach you back straight, head up, speak clearly, make good eye contact. Because I look stronger by looking at you, talking clearly. But if I bend over, okay, Zion, what's the bad guy look like? You'll be like, yo, that sensei is whack.
Please do not. You're talking 2004.
Oh, that's way before
I
that.
love it. But even this. When Julius, you know one of the things I like about Julius? When we go, okay, Julius, front kids go, yes, sensei! He's always trying hard, looks strong and everything. He may make a mistake, but what happens? We correct it. So remember, we don't always know what the bad guy is going to look like. We should always pay attention. Be alert, not scared of everybody, but just pay attention to people. And if somebody comes up to us and says, hey, can you help me go find my cat or whatever? You say, no, let me go get my mother or my father. That actually happened to me once in front of my house. One of my sons was at the end of the driveway. Some lady, I mean, she was only about this tall, but she came over, started talking to my son, and I'm like, excuse me, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I'm just looking for my cat. I'm like, well, she didn't look like anybody who lived in my neighborhood. I didn't recognize her, and I'm telling my son, basically, go back toward the front door, go to the house, and I'm like, what does your cat look like? If we see it, we'll let you know. And you can ask questions. You're not being disrespectful. Go, oh, so if Aaron is like some guy who goes, oh, can you help me find my cat? So what's your cat look like? What's your cat's name? And if they got to, what's that?
Simon Sensei.
See, he can answer immediately. But if he goes, well, my cat, he's got 4 legs, whiskers. His name is
Cat.
Meow, or he goes El Gato, which is Spanish for cat. Okay.
The cat.
All right. But seriously though, now there are some people who just go, yeah, like my wife. They call her cat Kisa, which is Icelandic for cat. But us Americans wouldn't know that. I'm like, oh, Kisa, that's a pretty cool name for a cat. I'm like, oh, your cat's name is Cat. Whatever. So these are things we're going to work on. So we are going to work on some techniques to defend ourselves. But remember, the first thing you do is what?
Run.
Run away, walk away, get out of the situation. Very good. All right. You can stop there.